Welcome back, guys. SimFBallCritic here, and as many of you may know, we did a live review of Madden 15 on our last show on Sim Standard Radio, and in case you missed it, the link is down in the description if you want to check it out. The review was done in the first hour of the show. Alright, now there was one area that I forgot to mention as, a disappointing area as of right now, and that would be Living Worlds. Now, before we get started, of course, I have to at least say this for the guys that don't know, I'm a gameplay guy first. First and foremost, I am more concerned about gameplay than any other area of the game. But with that, I have to respect the fact that I'm a simulation guy. And simulation to me doesn't just mean the gameplay. Simulation means an authentic replication of that sport, which includes the gameplay and the environment and the look and feel of the game. So you have to include things like presentation and living worlds and all of that, in order to encompass replicating football. We have to have all of that. And of course, gameplay, in my opinion, is always first. But like we've stated several times before, there are multiple departments that work on Madden. Everyone has their part, their component. I want to see all of these components improve together yearly. I feel like with the technology that we have now, we should be able to do that. No one should have to take a backseat. Everyone should have their job and their responsibility, and they're increasing, the product, making the product better all together. All right, now I'm not really going to break down what's going on here on the sideline. I'm just giving you guys a chance to see it for yourselves and just, explain how I feel about Living Worlds. And, you have to be a person that gives this type of feedback. I mean, a lot of you guys already know that, but I know I have a lot of new viewers now, just trying to, explain what I do and, basically who I am or what have you. Because a lot of you guys are not going to go back and look at all of my videos to know my history. I'm always the guy that's going to give feedback. I'm going to give constructive feedback. It's not about attacking and bashing and all that. What's the point of that? I have a relationship with the developers at EA, and this is the type of stuff they want. This is the type of stuff they want. If I wasn't giving them feedback and being constructive, then there's no point of me having that relationship with them. So this is just to point it out. This area has to be improved. This is the second game where Living Worlds has not impressed the community. When we heard of Living Worlds and the way it was advertised by Andrew Wilson, it got a lot of us pumped up. And okay, maybe it wasn't there last year because that was the first, game transitioning over to the new consoles, but I was expecting to see much more, much more done in Madden 15. And I just feel like now that it can't happen again. Next year has to wow us. It has to wow us because you look at games like FIFA and actually I'll say NHL, in the trailer, how they're showing how the crowd is reacting and people are holding up signs, taunting the other team. That kind of stuff that makes you feel like you're at the hockey arena. We need that in Madden. Not just the sidelines, but even the crowds. And now I will say, an area that was improved, the crowds react a little better in this game. They jump up and down and things like that. So you are going to see more of that activity, but it just needs to be pushed more to the limit as far as the environment as well. To me, Living Worlds also should encompass that. Like going to the 12th man, it feels like you're in Seattle. And your team may get rattled. Like, maybe a good starting point would be like what they had in NCAA with the composure. It's too loud, you can't communicate, guys might drop the ball or they get rattled, that kind of stuff. And, as far as the sideline here, as you can see, they just don't feel like they're living and breathing. It just seems like they're there. And the last thing I'll say about that, I want the actual player model to be on the sideline. I want the sidelines to look like it does when you see cutscenes. That to me is what the sideline should look like visually. So just wanted to make sure I didn't forget this piece. That's an area that I'm definitely not impressed with as of now. Must see improvement with that going forward. When I mean going forward, I would say Madden 16. All right. So like always, guys, leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Don't forget, guys, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, Sim Standard Radio. Make sure you tune in. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at SimFBallCritic.